Welcome everyone to the World Polygon Forum. Very excited to kickstart this series, which will become a yearly event for Polygon and multiple ecosystems. Units actually launched a series of different conferences, all to support the advocacy of blockchain, crypto literacy, and also to invite people who are doing amazing work around the world to come and share their initiatives, share their ideas, share their stories. We've got a lineup of, just in this year, we're going to be doing about 20 industry forums. We're going to be doing 20 different city forums. So really to tap into how different industries and cities will start to embrace the world of blockchain, crypto, token economies. And we've kick-started already the ecosystem series. We had the World Solana Forum last week. We had the World Ethereum Forum, which was just 2 days ago. It was great. Unit is known for rapid prototyping, so we kind of push things out. We iterate. That's the ethos behind our brand. And then we keep building on top of that. Ravikant, welcome to the session. I want to give a shout out to this wonderful gentleman who is part of the Polygon team, who actually brought everyone together from his side to try and get this event on the road in regard to selecting projects. So very, very supportive Polygon team and ecosystem. We're really grateful, and we want to build these kind of relationships and partnerships with other ecosystems as well. Purely, as I said, to make sure that the literacy, the education, as well as the creation in the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency, it's open, it's democratized. We want to allow for this arena to keep thriving so we can exchange ideas. Having said that, Unit is very excited in regard to what we're going to be building over the next decade, really. We've only just scraped the surface. This is one pillar of multiple pillars that we're actually pushing out. I'm going to just share my screen so I can take you through a couple of things that Unit's currently working on. Right, so today we're going to have a series of stories from the Polygon ecosystem. I'm also going to allow Ravikant to share a little bit on his vision for Polygon. We have some really cool speakers lined up for today. But I'm going to touch on a little bit about what Polygon's about, and then I'm going to get into why Unit's doing what they're doing and really what our pillars are. And because you can then see how you want to play as part of the Unit ecosystem and what you want to build out and how you could potentially be a part of this game-changing era for us. So these are the co-founders of Polygon. We have Sandeep Nalwal coming in about an hour to present and give his updates on what's happening in the ecosystem, some of the big collaborations that have happened in the last year. Polygon's really pushing hard, and they're doing some amazing work, very inspirational. I'm very, very excited to hear his updates. Originally launched in 2017, they've really come a long way already. Right now, just looking at the numbers on CoinMarketCap, almost at a little over 13 billion market cap. Trading volume is at about 3.8 billion. The total supply is 10 billion, but just from the post that I put out yesterday, which was the market cap was about 12.8 billion, looked at it today, market cap little over 13 billion. It's very exciting stuff to watch Polygon, and I know it's getting a lot more traction. We've even seen the recent collaboration with Ernst & Young. We have Paul Brody coming on later today to talk about that collaboration, which is very exciting, so we'll know what's happening in the space of enterprises and blockchain. So, the thing I love about Polygon, and we'll definitely hear this throughout the day, is what they did what every startup actually starts thinking about, is what is the problem I'm solving for? And they kind of looked at Ethereum, which was programmable currency. It was one of the coolest things that was coming out. People didn't really understand it. And they said, well, what are the problems Ethereum's facing? And the exorbitant cost associated with transacting on Ethereum was one of the main things. And we know the blockchain trilemma, which is scalability as well. And so they looked at those problems, and what Polygon did is they started to build solutions to those problems, which was really very creative, very insightful, and this is what has made them successful to date, and we're very excited to see how they continue to push that forward. So really, Polygon prides itself for being a lot less expensive and quicker than other networks. They foster a layer 2 network for building interoperability. A lot of people who come on today are going to be talking about different aspects of this. I'm not going to go into detail about this, but just really touching on what Polygon's work is around and what they're trying to do. They combine the best features really of standalone blockchains and Ethereum. So getting the best of both worlds, how can you really leverage what Ethereum has done, but create the sense of scalability and interoperability, which is super cool. In regard to Unit and what Unit is about, Unit is really paving the way for the token era. We're hearing a lot about token communities springing up all over the place. And there's this sense of, are these really Ponzi schemes, or are they sustainable communities? Are they companies built on the ethos of this can last? And what Unit did is they decided to create not just the technology, but really they're looking at creating a forum, a platform just like this. This is one of the pillars of Unit, which allows for innovators, investors, pioneers in the blockchain community to come together and build out token communities, but then also share and exchange ideas, because ultimately every protocol should be communicating with each other in the next decade. The ones that last will be collaborative. And this is why we've called our friends at Polygon over. We want to be able to witness their stories and their greatness and the amazing innovators that come on through their ecosystem, see the things they're building so that we can promote the work that they're doing and share it with a larger blockchain community. So really what the pillars are for Unit is this is the Unit conference. As I mentioned, there's going to be 20 industry conferences, 20 city conferences, forums, and 10 ecosystem forums. By ecosystem forums, I mean such as this one with the Polygon forum happening now, Ethereum 2 days ago, and so on and so forth. We have DOT coming up, Polkadot coming up next week. Those of you who are logged in the conference app, you can see a list of all the conferences and you can sign up to any of them. Really what we're doing, again, is to create a very open, democratized space where people can get information, learn, share, and network with everyone. It's as flat as it can be. That's what we believe is the way to collaborate. Completely. I think the ethos of the blockchain community is to remain flat. So the 5 pillars are Unit conferences, Unit ventures, where we'll be incubating ideas, where projects that want to start building more of a token economy around it. We will be putting it through a 10-week program. The first batch happens in January. Unit Masters, which is one of our flagship projects, we started it late last year. We are running into the 7th cohort coming up on November 9th, so completely free. So if you are really keen on learning more about blockchain and crypto, we've really structured it the best we could. We keep iterating on it. It's completely free. It's unitmasters.org. If you go to it, you can sign up, enroll for the next batch. It happens every 2 months. Whenever you're ready, you can learn from it, and you get mentorship as well. So every week we have 2 people who are in the space, in the world of blockchain and crypto, practitioners in the space, sharing their knowledge with people and taking on questions in really very open and collaborative arena. Unit University, which we haven't launched yet, which will be a repository for all the case studies really and the learnings in the space of blockchain, crypto, and token communities, and Unit News, which will be everything to do with what's up and coming and hot in the space of Unit. So that kind of touches on what Unit is all about, and these are the kind of pillars and arenas you can play with. I would love to just stop talking for a bit and hand over the floor to Ravikant, maybe say a few words about Polygon. We're so happy to have you here, so happy that your team could support us on launching this forum. Very appreciative. So Ravikant, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anne. I think this is a wonderful event in terms of speaking about one particular solution. So I think from a Polygon perspective, you have covered some part of it, and I'm sure in another 50 odd minutes when Sandeep is going to talk, he would be taking in terms of what are the future roadmap look like. But I think what we have seen in the recent past is something nearly around last year, around the same time, we were having around 30 odd apps Now we are more than 1,200 apps, right? So there is, leaps and bounds growth that we have seen across all different verticals, be it the DeFi, NFT, gaming, DAOs, and the other verticals. So I think there had been, uh, I would say recently we have also crossed 1 billion transactions onto Polygon POS chain, which is one of the solution. And I'm sure in the coming time, you would hear from Sandeep about the different solutions that we are offering, which are going to be making, a choice for the developer in terms of what kind of scaling solutions that they are looking out for, the type of use cases that they're working on. So overall, we have seen a very healthy ecosystem growth, be it across the different areas of ecosystem. So if you talk about the areas, let's say in terms of the number of wallets, number of oracles, or the on-ramp, off-ramp solutions, or maybe the type of meta transaction that a particular project would demand, or let's say across the storage, infrastructure, analytic aspect of it. So I think we have seen a very healthy growth across different dimensions of the ecosystem, at the same time across different verticals, if we can say so.
What's the most exciting part of your journey with Polygon to date? What would you say was a highlight for you? And what brought you into the blockchain space? Because there's so many different aspects that people come into this space and then they realize how revolutionary it can be over the next decade. So we're very curious to hear your story.
Oh, this started with a very funny incident. So I actually in 2015 I was on a tour in Paris, and I lost my wallet there. And I actually was a little scared in terms of I'm going back to London. That time I was staying in London, and thankfully I had a friend from whom I was able to borrow, and I was back home. But that made me think, in case if somebody needs a fund, how can they get it a little more instantly instead of relying onto the traditional banking system for getting that. And that's where I got introduced to Bitcoin initially, and I got to learn about this particular technology. Being in London, I was able to meet a lot of like-minded people through the meetups there, and understood a little more closely about this particular technology. In my past, I had been always into the management and strategy consulting, and that's where I started looking in terms of application of blockchain technology for the financial institutions, gone deeper and understood, what kind of use cases can be satisfied using this wonderful technology. And I had a small instinct where I also created a blockchain-based digital identity product, and from there on, I had been working very closely at Polygon. And I think there had been many instances, not to just name a few, but I think the most satisfying thing that I personally feel is that we had been able to create a solution which is something being used by masses, right? So without a fear in terms of a high transaction fee, or maybe waiting for the transaction confirmation for long. I think a solution like Polygon, which has been enabling a better user experience. So you click onto a solution and something happen within a couple of seconds. I think that gives like a Web2 experience to many users, and that helps many solution to leverage this particular technology and build more realistic and solution that can provide better user experience for a Web2 native user as well as for Web3 users.
What would you say is the biggest challenge for adoption?
I think education is one of the biggest challenge, I would say, in terms of user learning about Web3 technology and then going further it. And that's where I feel that simplification of the user experience into the application would certainly help in terms of bringing, let's say, another 100 million user to this Web3 technology. So better user experience and education would certainly help.
Looking at the global map, which countries do you think are taking the lead in regard to adoption currently?
Yeah, I mean, there are several reports out there which talks about different adoption level, and some of the reports have indicated that even India is ranked 2 in terms of the adoption. But I think overall, in my personal view, it's primarily where there is more need, we would see more adoption. So, for example, let's say country in Africa, or let's say countries in Southeast Asia, where there are some systems which are broken and where blockchain application can provide real value. I think they become relatively faster in terms of adoption compared to compared to the countries where we would have more stabilized systems when it comes to the use cases, let's say, related to healthcare or related to document management or even related to, let's say, property, land registries and things like that, right? But if we talk about, let's say, a weaker financial systems, and that could be complemented by a technology like blockchain where the payment can be very well simplified, I think those are the geographies or the countries which would see larger adoption and quicker adoption. And that's where we are seeing that happening either in the African countries, Southeast Asian countries.
And in regard to India, you're currently sitting out of India right now, I know. What do you feel about regulations in India and how they're embracing crypto currently?
I would say that government is cautiously, looking in terms of where it goes, and I think as it is happening in the other part of the geography, government is trying to wait it out in complete sense, but it is not showing, any negativity at the moment. I would say the optimism is there. There are some positive messages coming out from the government. So we are hopeful that it is being looked upon with the open mind, and that is what we have been hearing, from the various channels, and that seems to be positive.
That's very exciting indeed. I also know Ankur, who has really supported immensely in bringing this project to life as well, was the first to tell me that Amitabh Bachchan, who is one of our TV celebrities here in India, is now the face of one of the crypto exchanges. I think things like that starting to happen, or seeing these kind of endorsements take place, will make it more digestible for the common man to kind of look and explore the world of crypto. What is your take on that?
So certainly, I think this paves way for the common person to understand what this technology brings to the table, and I think if such celebrities are adopting technology, I think it certainly excites the lot of other crowds who may be sitting onto the fence in terms of waiting, get into the experiences related to this Web3 space. But I'm sure such kind of exposure gives the experience such technology, especially the Web3 gaming space is very, very attractive. NFT space is booming out there. The metaverses are coming in a big time. We have been hearing even Facebook trying to rebrand by going big onto metaverses. So I think very encouraging steps.
Very exciting. What's on the product roadmap for Polygon that you're super excited about? I'm sure that, looking at strategy, there's a lot of exciting projects up ahead. What would you say is one of the things that you're super stoked about that Polygon started working on more intensely?
Sure. Yeah, I think, as I said, Sandeep is going to be deep diving in terms of what is coming into the roadmap. But I think ZK technology, or rather the scaling aspect on top of Ethereum using ZK technology, is something that we are very bullish, and we wanted to, really enable that technology in order to onboard, let's say, another 1 million users coming onto Ethereum.
Very, very exciting, Ravikant. Thank you so much for that update. We are super excited to hear about from everyone in the ecosystem, really. We've got a lineup of about 10 people today. It's going to be a long day. We finish at 5:30 UTC time, but we have our next Polygon Forum in April, on the 7th of April, 2022. We're hoping to get more people from the Polygon ecosystem to come through, share their stories and developments, everything exciting that's happening in your space and in your world. We're here to support you. But just to prepare this amazing audience that's gonna start growing as we continue through the day, with how to embrace all this information. And I think we're living in an era of exponential technologies right now. And people are getting overwhelmed with information. They're getting overwhelmed with so much that they have to learn. I mean, even talking about the future economy, I've been on an exponential learning curve. I know everyone part of the Unit ecosystem has been on that trip as well, trying to absorb as much information, because we know that this change is coming, especially over this, coming decade. There's going to be massive shift in the way we even understand wealth and money. And having said that, I've started to realize that, we need to be able to understand our human technology just as much as we understand the technologies that humans are making, right, to help accelerate all this amazing space, a change in the space of collaboration, decentralized governance, so on and so forth. And so just having said that, I would love us to, take a few moments. I'm going to share a little bit of information in regard to learning right now, because we have a full day where we're going to have to open our minds, open our hearts, kind of be open to asking questions and even absorbing new information. But it's important for us to really understand what's going on inside our bodies, inside our minds, inside our hearts when we're in sessions like this. There's so much information coming at us. We're like goldfish, we can only pick only so much information. But if we learn to manage our brain and we learn how to manage the information coming at us, we'll be more able and ready to navigate this world that we're living in. So I just want to share a slide with you to give you a little bit of an aha moment on something that shaped my life 10 years ago when I saw it. And I'm just going to share this really quickly. So how to stay open and unlearn and learn anew. I think this generation has to be really open to breaking down old intellect structures in our mind and be able to absorb new ways of thinking. And also when we come up with ideas, to be able to scrap them if they're not good enough and move forward. And I think one of the fundamental truths around that is just understanding how our brain functions and what we're, are we in a stressed out state, or are we in a calm and receptive state? And, we need to find a way where in a situation like this, we're in a room, there's a bunch of us sitting here, and we're trying to absorb all this information, and we're processing everything. The part of our brain that processes information is the prefrontal cortex over here. And when there's so much coming at us, there's only minute amounts that we can really absorb. And so, this slide that I'm going to share with you, it's just one slide, is just to tell you what happens in our minds so that we're aware that if we feel like there's too much coming at us, well, that there are ways we can kind of slow down and we can be more receptive to information and be able to learn and also unlearn old thoughts and things that aren't serving us, so that we can take in new information and be open to it. Because in the world of blockchain, in the world of crypto, in the world of token communities, there's a lot of new information coming at us. And so looking at this is really just showing or depicting the different brain wave states in our brain. What is happening when we're here right now is we are in a state that is called the beta brainwave state. Our brainwave is quite fast, it's moving at a high frequency. We are alert, we're trying to pay attention, we're trying to take information, which is great. We're observing what is going on so that we can get as much out of it. But if we actually live in beta for too long, it causes stress. And that's when we start actually not serving ourselves in a learning environment. And so when we're going to conferences or day forums, or even if we're in a hackathon or working with a group of people, it's important for us to find ways to actually calm ourselves down through a sustained stretch of learning. And so right under the beta row on the top is the alpha brainwave. And what the alpha brainwave is it's a slower paced brainwave. It's when you're more relaxed. And typically what one does to get more relaxed is just take a deep breath, right? It sounds so simple, but really all you need to do to relax into a learning experience sometimes is take a deep breath. And that's represented quite simply, scientifically. What can slow your brainwave down is taking a deep breath. That's 5 seconds on the inhale. So you go, and 5 seconds on the exhale. And what does this do? This actually relaxes your mind and body instantly. You take 3 of those breaths and you're more receptive to information, you're more creative. If you're more relaxed, they call it the theta brainwave. The theta brainwave is just before you go to sleep. We do not want anyone sleeping on this call, so we do not want anyone to get into that state, right? But actually, when you're in the theta brainwave state, when you're really deeply relaxed, you are more creative. So when you are actually building out your businesses, your creative teams, you're trying to think of ideas, it's really important to find techniques and things that resonate with you that will get you into that state of relaxation. So you're more receptive, you're more creative, you come up with better ideas because you're not living in this, I need to absorb all the information coming at me. You're more in an open state where you're allowing ideas to come to you. And delta is when you go to sleep. So I wanted to share that little chart with you so that you can just relate with yourself as we go through this learning experience together today. That when you're feeling like it's a little overwhelming, take a deep breath, relax into the moment, just observe what is happening. If you need to step away, put your screen off, step away, get a glass of water, stretch, but be able to understand yourself, your own body, your own mind, so that you can make this as fruitful as possible. All right, on that note, I want to open up to anyone from the audience just sharing some insights, why they're here, what would they like to take away, any questions. We have a few minutes before we get into our first session.